It's election day in Indiana, and we'll see what happens with that. The pundits are saying that this is make it or break it for Ted Cruz, or in another case for Donald Trump. We shall see. We'll see how that all plays out. I'm finding some really interesting stuff here on the right, and that I think is going to I know is going to substantially affect all of us on the left, as it were. And I wanted to point this out, and that is, in 1992 and I think in 94, Bill Clinton's campaign had a slogan on the wall that said, "It's the economy, stupid," and it was their way of kind of constantly refocusing on the fact that the economy is the issue that people care about. You could use, today's version of it would be jobs, 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 right? That it's just like it's the jobs, stupid. It's jobs, jobs, jobs. And, typically the Republicans, since they really can't run on a jobs agenda, because, anything that would generate jobs, they say, oh, that's the work of the free market, so the government should not be involved in that in any way. This so-called magical free market that they all believe in it's like the free market unicorn. And seriously. And so they've tried these strategies before, and they're trying it again now. This, first of all, this is clip number 3, Jim. Glenn Beck talking about how God is on Ted Cruz's side. This is the old way they used to campaign. Check this out.
Before I walked out on stage, Ted and I got down on our knees and we prayed. And we didn't pray for us. We prayed for the nation and for you. He is a servant at heart. He is a man who was raised for these times. People don't believe that stuff anymore, but I do. If God raised George Washington and Ben Franklin and Thomas Jefferson and Thomas Paine, if he put that collection together, he is the Almighty. I think he could send us one guy.
It was interesting. Thomas Paine wrote a book about how he was an atheist. Thomas Jefferson took all the miracles out of the Bible. George Washington refused to ever answer the question about whether or not he was a Christian. And Ben Franklin, in his autobiography, repeatedly talked about how offended he was by Christianity. So Glenn Beck quotes the 4 founders who are literally the most outspoken atheists or deists, non-Christians, to say, yes, and Ted Cruz, and we got down on our knees and we prayed. Okay, so that's the traditional way they do it. And Michael Savage is even trying this now. He's going off saying, oh, no, it's God is not on Cruz's side. God is on Donald Trump's side. Here is Michael Savage.
The wind that is emerging from these violent left-wing fanatics is a wind that is being used to lift the Trump airplane. And I personally think that after this is all over and Trump becomes the next president of the United States, I personally believe you'll look back and you will see that there's God's hand in all of this. I don't want to get into the God thing because it starts to turn me off. I see spiritual elements in certain things, and I don't think things happen by accident. I believe that Obama was put here to show us just what could happen under a corrupt left-wing administration, period. And I believe that Trump is the counterpoint to these 8 years of corruption and communism in the United States of America. Or if you don't like the word communism, call it whatever you want. It certainly isn't Americanism. It certainly isn't make America great. It certainly isn't America first. Obama has given us America last. America last is Obama's motto. It's the thing he eats, breathes, and sleeps. He goes to sleep dreaming of how to run America down. He goes to sleep dreaming about how to destroy America one more time, to get in one more round of smackdowns on this country. And everybody sees that. And Trump is the antidote to these 8 years of hatred for this dear nation. This nation that I, an immigrant son, love so much.
There you go. So Well, I'm an immigrant's grandson, I suppose. But there's a reason why I think, so frequently right-wing radio is referred to as right-wing hate radio. I mean, Obama hates America? Really? And he's looking for ways to destroy America? But anyhow, that was the old God's on my candidate's side shtick. Now, fortunately on the Democratic Party side, you have Hillary Clinton, who is I think Presbyterian, whatever. It's one of the non-evangelical lines of Protestantism. Actually, I think maybe she's Methodist, as I recall, which is the church I was raised in. And but whatever she is, I mean, she doesn't talk a lot about religion or God, and so she's not going to wear that button on her sleeve, which I think is a good thing. I think that when you start injecting religion into politics, that it gets very bad and very messy. And I honor her for doing that. And Bernie Sanders, I mean, it's famous, it's iconic, it's gone viral on the internet 16 different ways. When he was asked about his religion, he said, if you hurt, I hurt. If your child hurts, I hurt. That's my religion. Which was Matthew 24, Matthew 25, whatever it is. And help the least among us. But they're not out there pitching that. But what's the real issue that this election might turn on? I think, particularly if Donald Trump is the Republican nominee, the principal issue that this election will turn on is trade. Because trade is meta for jobs. And you've got Donald Trump out there and Senator Sanders correctly pointing out that NAFTA, CAFTA, Korean Free Trade Deal, permanent normal relations with China have cost this country millions of jobs. We've lost tens of thousands of factories. We have hollowed out our major cities. We've turned them from manufacturing centers into places that, where there's just no hope, no despair, nothing but guns and drugs. Not even good food. I mean, food deserts. It's just, everything has shut down because when the jobs go away, everything goes with it. And they're continuing to. And they're campaigning right now in Indiana, which is where Carrier is sending 1,000 jobs more or less down to Mexico, in 12 or 13 months. And it's becoming a really, really central issue. And one of the things that concerns me on this is that if we have, at the end of the day, Hillary Clinton versus Donald Trump, which is, looking increasingly likely, although, we'll see what the outcome of today's election is before we start, pronouncing anybody anything. But if we have that race, Donald Trump can run to the left of Hillary Clinton on trade unless she begins to significantly change her tune on trade, right? Right now she's saying, TTIP, I don't like the way it's written. Whereas Trump and Bernie are both saying, let's get rid of all these trade deals. And I'm not sure that Trump is saying it in exactly those words, but close. And let's go back to a tariff-based system, or let's do something to protect America. Now you got a whole bunch of economists out there going, oh my God, that'll create a trade war. Maybe. But if it brings the jobs home, does that hurt us or help us? I personally, I think, over the short term, it would be difficult because there are a lot of things that we no longer make here that we actually need. And so we'd have to tool up factories fast. But what an incredible spectrum of entrepreneurial opportunities it would create.
To watch more clips from our programs, hit the Watch More Videos button over here. And please be sure to hit the handy-dandy subscribe button so you'll always be up to date. Tag, you're it.